Imagine if a group of Christians is found involved in grooming Muslim girls in Pakistan, sexually assaulting them for years. What would be consequences? Many might say that Pakistanis would, especially Pakistani Muslims, would go insane, targeting Christian colonies, their settlements. Maybe, we have seen in the past that they burned, in some cases, colonies of the Christians. Imagine if some young people are involved in grooming upper class Hindu girls in India, the Dalit people, if they are involved in grooming uh, upper class Brahman girls or rich girls and sexually assaulting them, what will happen to them? Many of them could be burned alive, perhaps, by the goons of Hindu fundamentalist group who claim the superiority of a certain caste. So when it comes to the grooming gangs in the UK, it is important to understand the anger of the white working class. It cannot be simply dismissed by saying that this is all far right propaganda. Of course, there is an element of far right propaganda because they single out Muslims. Though criminals are criminals, they can be found anywhere. Jeffrey Epstein was non Muslim. Uh, Glenn Maxwell was not a Muslim. And the member of the royal family who was involved in alleged sexual assault against a white girl, of course, he was not Muslim or non white. So they are all the victims, or almost all the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. They were white girls. And the way Glenn Maxwell allegedly groomed, white girls, that was also condemnable. So criminals could be criminals, and criminals are criminals. But sometimes what happens that, for instance, if there are a lot of cases of coronavirus in a certain area, authorities would try to keep a vigilant eye on that particular area, deploying more medical staff there. Sometimes there are more crimes in a certain area. The police would keep an eye on that particular area. In the same way, if there are more cases of infectious diseases in a certain area, more medical attention would be paid there. So one wonders if it is the time for the Muslim and Pakistani community to reflect upon it. If an overwhelming members of this gang were from Pakistani community, so one wonders if it is the time to reflect upon it. If there are more people involved in you know in drugs, or selling or buying drugs, and if they are from a particular community, would that not be time for that particular community to reflect upon it? So this is something that Muslims should really reflect upon. Is it because of the fact that some sections of the Muslim do not give equal rights to women, or some section of them simply consider them commodity? I do not want to draw any conclusion, but all I would say is that it should not be merely dismissed. And of course, there has to be some debate and discussion as to why it happened in a particular community. If Pakistanis or Muslim are overrepresented in jail populations, then of course that's a time to reflect upon. Like Muslim in the past did reflect upon the factors prompting some young people from the Muslim community to commit acts of terrorism. So, act of terrorism were also a criminal offense, and this is also a criminal offense. I have just tried to give you an example. If the same thing had happened in Pakistan by Christian gangs, so what would be the result? If the same thing had happened in India by Dalit or the people from lower class, if they had committed that against the upper class, what would had happened? If the same thing happens, let's say in Sri Lanka by Tamil minority against the Sinhali majority, so it has to be thought on, in realistic terms. And there is no harm in reflecting upon the mistakes or even blunders or even crimes. After all, Muslim did in the past reflect upon the number of cases whereby Muslim guys were involved in extremist ideas. The same could be said about any other community. If there is more radicalization or far right radicalization among the white communities, of course the community will think about it. It must ponder over the factors prompting young people to, uh, you know, to um, to get influenced uh, by far right ideology or ideology of far right extremism. So I think there might be critics who would argue that Muslims need to ponder over the factors, uh, ponder over the factors of such crimes, and of course they need to carry out some reflection over it. So it's important not to dismiss this anger at all. These victims really need our sympathies. At least we as a community, Muslim as a community, or Pakistanis as a community, could extend any type of support if they know anything about those perpetrators who still have not been arrested. We should extend the same information to the police. We should cooperate with them. In the same way, if there are social care homes in our area, we should make efforts to protect them in collaboration with police. We should keep an eye on the elements that are tarnishing the image of Muslim or Pakistani or immigrant communities by getting involved in these heinous crime, which should be condemnable at all level. In the same way, there are so many Muslims or Pakistani lawyers who may who may extend legal support to these victims, and those victims who are still waiting for justice. We should make efforts by helping police, by helping other departments to make sure that they get justice. It's really very heart wrenching when you look at the interviews of these victims, the way they were exploited, the way they were groomed, the way they were sexually assaulted. This is really very heart wrenching, and we cannot simply dismiss their plight. We cannot simply dismiss their anger, their grief, by saying that this is far right propaganda. I think we as a community need to ponder over this, and we should also extend any sort of support that is needed by these victims. And every man, especially Muslim and Pakistani, every member of that community uh, should condemn these heinous facts, and should also keep an eye on those who might, you know, be involved in the future. We must make efforts to to ensure that those who are living in our area, be they white, black, they feel safe. And we should also keep an eye on those Islamist groups that just want to be hegemonic and tarnish the image of the Muslim and Pakistani community.